Welcome back to KTN Prime. I'm still in studio, joined by the two legislators. Allow me to reintroduce them. Dan Manzo, the Senator for Makueni and Member of Parliament for Kimilili, Didmas Baraza, as we continue evaluating Kenya's political developments. Right before the break, Didmas alluded to the fact that perhaps opposition MPs simply criticize to raise their political capital, and at the end of the day, they do not provide alternatives in terms of being a true reflection of Kenya's opposition. A right of reply, Dan Manzo.
Well, let me say that there could be individual members who do business with the government. Personally, I'm not doing any business with the national government. And in fact, opposition members of parliament, at times, the projects in their constituencies stall. And the projects in those who are supporting government areas, are completed, or there's an effort to do so. For example, Thwake Dam, which is in Makueni, are stalled, and there seems to be no effort to restart it, and it is totally when it is 94% done, with only 6% to go. But the last 2 years, the new government has done very little about it. There are stadiums, water stadium is stuck. Recently, the minister was there and he was shocked what is happening. There's a famous road called Ukea Emali, which was meant to be tarmacked. This is in the places you get the sweetest mangoes and the citrus fruits, and there is no road really to take them to a processing factory which is there, or make sure they access the rest of the market in Kenya and in the world. And when I brought a question to the Minister of Roads, he came to Parliament, answered, and even told the whole nation that the further details to make sure that this road is done, I should go to his office to finalize with him. But as soon as he left Parliament, he blocked my number. So that's the fate of an opposition member of Parliament, really. I may go, I hardly visit government offices, really, unless it's not necessary. Now, if I'm unable to access you on phone, I'm not going to waste my whole day going to wait for you in your office. I'll have to raise another question and bring him back to the house and keep on pestering till they develop this road. So it's not easy for development to happen for members of opposition, but we are working very hard as opposition to make sure that we bring change to the nation and to make sure that we send this government home, because many Kenyans wanted to go home. Many Kenyans are not happy with it. Many Kenyans have assessed it below 20%, that it is a government whereby a lot of resources are being misused. There's a lot of corruption going on. We need a government which can fight corruption for real, and we need a situation where there's no conflict of interest, where companies associated with people in power are the one, working and getting paid all our taxes. We need equity in the country, and we will soldier on, and there are many Kenyans. Really, I'm urging young people, now that we push the government and it dropped the illegal charges on registration of a Kenyan in terms of ID cards and passport and all those things. Now that ID cards are free, please register as a Kenyan. And as soon as IBC is set up, register as a voter and let your voice be counted, because there are very many disgruntled Kenyans. But the best way to speak is through the ballot.
That's noted. Didmas, as you come in and we put this matter to rest, has this administration prioritized economic development, talk about public service and national unity over political showmanship? When you hear a former CS and the former Attorney General accusing the president of micromanaging his cabinet, what comes to mind?
There is nothing wrong. The term micromanaging can be defined in different ways depending on what you want to achieve. We have always lauded leaders who are hands-on. Now, if you don't understand, like in Muturi, you will think that being hands-on is micromanaging. We have a president who is hands-on, and that is what we want as a country. Our administration has always prioritized our economy. It is the opposition and our opponents who have sacrificed the economic gains of our country for cheap, parochial, sectarian gains. I want to give you an example. The energy that members of parliament and other leaders spend discussing about how politics has changed from the time that our deputy was impeached to date, if we can divert that energy and begin to discuss about how do we benefit as a country from the different economic climatic conditions that this country is endowed with. Our 8 different parts of our country, previously referred to as provinces, they have got different climatic conditions supporting different economic activities. The day we'll begin to have a conversation and say, how does the people of Bungoma benefit from the climatic conditions of Ukambani that supports growing of fruits and sorghum, and how can the Ukambani people benefit from the maize and sugarcane that the people of Bungoma plant? That is what we will begin now to advance as a country. We must stop as a country this business of seeing some regions with the lens of politics, that when you see the people of Nyanza, you see ODM. When you see the people of central Kenya, you begin to see some various political activities that are associated with that particular region. That they have been president for I don't know how many years. Okay. We must begin to see how can our various counties begin to cash on available trade opportunities, so that we can so that one county should be able to provide a market for whatever this other country is producing. If we begin to think along that lines, this our country will change. And I think we have focused more as a government in inducting, we induct governments on how they can implement their service delivered to the people. I think we also need to produce, and I'm challenging scholars. Okay. They need to be doing research on how we can have a more responsible opposition, on how opposition can benefit our country, because they are sitting on a gem without knowing. It is not only the government that develops their country. Even opposition also develops the country. You know, I would want to see a situation where opposition members of parliament will even write documentaries, even write advisories on how to go about solving the various public problems, as opposed to just waiting, sleeping on their duty, waiting for the government to implement something. Okay. Then they surface on a TV show like this one, trying to fold, saying this one is wrong, this one is bad. If someone wearing a suit on a sunny day is bad, tell him wearing a suit on a sunny day is bad. Please consider wearing a T-shirt and a short, because it's very hot. Give alternatives. Give out an alternative. Okay. And just briefly, Didmas. And just to forget, okay. You know, a few months ago, they were busy making noise about how the carelessness of our government has resulted into escalating fuel prices. Today, the fuel prices have been dropping down, including a few hours ago. They dropped further by more than 2 shillings. You can't really hear them talk about lauding the government's interventions about this dropping of fuel prices. And I think what we need to do as leaders, that we should come together as leaders and say, we have realized a remarkable drop in fuel prices, so that we ensure that the fuel prices also degenerates into lowering the cost of very many other commodities that depend on fuel as cost of production. Okay, noted. Just briefly, we had the president downplay the Ruto must go chants. I think that was during the burial in Siaya County. Should he have equally played or downplayed the echoes of war drama that ensued in Nakuru? I want to weigh into this matter of echoes of war, that narrative. Briefly, yes. It's a very serious matter. Number one, we have laws in our country that protects children. We have the Children's Act, You have the Bostol Act. Dan Manzo, being a lawyer, will tell you that you cannot prosecute a child who is below 13 years because that child is assumed that he doesn't know whatever he did. And even the one that falls between the age of 14 and 15, even if you are to take them to prison, you have to take them to a separate prison through another way of, not like someone who's above 18 years. So when you get the young people at the average of 10 years, 12 years, you are radicalizing them to begin casting a play that has got undertones against government and against some leaders. To me, that is a serious offense. It's a serious offense. And I think, to me, it's not about Malala. Okay. To me, it's about the officers of government. From the zonal level, where that play was first casted. Because we have a rules and a procedure that Ministry of Education officials must follow to approve a particular narrative or a particular play before the children cast it in their competition.
Okay.
You have to look at the theme. Does it offend the national values? Does it promote ethnic hate? If it does, then that play should be discontinued from progressing. So the people who slept on duty from the time that this play was done, even though we are told that whatever that was casted at the zonal level is not what was being done in Nakuru. Somehow they changed.
Okay, okay.
And you know,
all right.
Going forward into the future, we must not allow people who are not teachers to begin evading our schools in the name of teaching drama or coaching them anything. The school has enough resources to compete against themselves.
All right.
If Cleophas Malala want to continue writing scripts, he can go and write. There are very many clubs in our country here who perform at National Theatre. He can become one of them and begin to direct and write scripts that can be aired in the National Theatre. But he should not misuse our children. Before a child is 18 years, they should just be taught on how to be patriotic to our country, to love our country, and to love our government.
All right.
But until when they are 18 years, that's when they are able now to interrogate and analyze whether this government is good for them or not, because they have a national ID card. But a child who is 14 years, 13 years, 9 years, has got no intelligentsia to tell whether the government is heading the right direction or not.
Okay. Senator, come in. Was this a case of radicalizing children, or is the government too sensitive to political satire?
Well, you know, when plays are done, they're supposed to entertain.
Yeah.
They're supposed to be, it's a way of making sure that the children are creative. And in fact, many children who have taken part in plays end up, be very confident. And I know Malala has done this over the years. You remember 2013. And that time, because he was supporting the government, he was not admonished. In fact, his play was praised. And Malala is very creative. So creativity must be encouraged, through the children. And any child who has participated in drama, they are doing very well in many parts of the world. They are streetwise, they are smart. When I went to Starehe Boys Center, every year there was a play which even the Kenyans will come and watch and pay something, and that will raise school fees for some children. And I did the book Tom Sawyer. There was Tin Panali. There were so many books even by Charles Dickens and all that. And the Treasure Island. So this is something which happens all the time, but unfortunately now, the government is scared of children. What I want to tell President Ruto is that the girls and boys in Form 3 and Form 4 will vote in 2027, and there are very many. Therefore, this is a matter which went to court. And the judge, having heard both sides, found it wise that the play goes on. But you know, some people created all manner of situations, including ending up Debenji Malala's car, totally unnecessary by some government agents. I think even shooting live bullets in you know, to children and the tear gas and to journalists. Really, I think somebody went beyond. And what the government should be doing is to apologize for that incident, because some of these children are traumatized, and a lot of other children in the country, you know, now it's during the holidays, have followed this story and are very upset on why the government had to be so rough on them. I think time has come now when the government can no longer do this sort of thing. What I expected, somebody who was unhappy with the High Court should have gone to Court of Appeal and obtained another court order and stopped this play through the courts, and smoothly and quietly. But the force used and the disorganization and the trauma given to children really should be apologized for, and even some of these children should be treated for trauma and should be, you know, encouraged and given hope that the future will be better. So there are so many political books, even in the literature books, the set books. You know, Chinua Achebe was about the colonialism and how and many other things are growing those days. It's culture. You know, there are so many books by Ngugi wa Thiong'o, and creativity must be encouraged.
Okay.
If it goes wrong, even by publishing, by the level of publishing, I am very sure the government could stop at that level if there is something offensive.
All right.
It's simply creativity. It's a mistake. It should be apologized for.
You know, I have listened to my friend Senator Manzo blaming the government on the force they used to, the force they meted on the children of Butere girls and journalists as well. We all condemn the approach that the police used. But Dan Manzo knows that the Inspector General of Police is independent. He's never controlled by the president. So by his mention that the government is not the government, that is Inspector General of Police. I think we must learn to differentiate whatever we are saying in terms of directing them to the specific arm of government. You know, it is not the business of the head of state to direct the police on when and not to use the live bullets, and whether they are children or older people. I think the person that we should call to order is the regional police commander, regional police commander for Rift Valley. And you boil it down to the specific officer commanding the police division upon which that particular area falls within. Right. And I am sure 100% that even the Inspector General of Police will take action, will begin to call the, to carry out investigations and bring to, call to order the officers who are involved, because school children, you don't have to use live bullets. But that's not something that we have a president who is extremely busy. It's not too idle to begin meddling in whether a police constable who has gone to maintain law and order in a particular area, whether he follows this particular thing or not. And I think, Dan Manzo, you need to go out. You need to come out and, because you are a very good senator in our country. You need to go out to be one of the leaders in our country who are able to look at what is happening and provide a solution, so that when you exit as senator, Kenya will remember you for only doing that thing. Otherwise, before you do that, Dan Manzo, Kenyans only remembers you for having disappeared with an ODM certificate during that time when the rainbow had been formed. So you must actually know that when the people of Makueni voted for you as their senator, they basically send you to Nairobi so that you can team up with the rest of senators from the country and members of parliament from every territory of our country to be able to put their heads together and see what is it that is good for this country. What is it that the country can benefit from our ideas. That is why when a member of parliament brings an idea in the National Assembly or in the Senate, that idea becomes a national idea, because now the rest of leaders now will begin to contribute to it. And I think what will get this country forward is if we will realize that there is no any other country called Kenya.
All right.
What we will realize that we have 2 years to the elections. And before 2 years to the elections, Kenyans must have food, they must be protected, they must continue getting services from the government. So any slightest opportunity that you get as a leader, whether elected on a government party or opposition party or independent, any slightest opportunity that you get, you must ask yourself one question: where this country will be if each and every person behaved in the manner that I'm behaving in. And you must always also provide that Kenyans are looking for.
Okay. Dan Mazo, final comments.
You know, when I registered ODM Kenya, the whole of Orange fraternity was unable to register a political party and did not have a party as such. I put in a lot of wisdom and was witty, and finally delivered a party for them. But they don't want me to benefit from my sweat. So that's how we parted ways. But we are still friends. You know, that's how politics go. They did not even want me to have an opportunity to go to parliament. You see, in the same party I had formed. So I think young people should always be encouraged. And the most important, we must, as a country, protect the lives of young people. Any police officer who used live bullets, and this can be accounted, all that, you know, something should be done by the IPOA, the Oversight Authority. We must protect the young people who, when they express themselves, they also get shot and are killed. Those who came to visit us in Parliament, 6 of them died. We have over 100 missing young people in the country, and I represented some at the court. We still have a young man called Stephen Kavingo from Kibwezi, who is not known where he is. They are the Mulot boys, very brilliant boys. Their car was shot at. They have been missing for a long time. They come from Bomet, you know. And these young people should be protected by the government of Kenya. And instead of, now that they are very brilliant sometimes, they hack things. They should be utilized by the NIS in the country and trained and molded to be better citizens.
As you finalize.
Yeah, as I find. So that we all want a country which follows the law, the rule of law, the constitution, the protection of human rights, the protection of life, which is sovereign, and more important, the prudent use of the taxes collected from all of us.
Well noted. Gentlemen, that's all the time we had. Unfortunately, they say time flies when you're having fun. And the sentiments of Didmus Baraza remind me of a US president who said, ask not what the country can do for you, but what you can do for the country. Anyway, gentlemen, that's a good place to wrap up today's conversation. We definitely appreciate your input. Dan Manzo, the Senator for Makueni.